about the new procedure called photo point. Plus, he's made history and recorded it. And we'll introduce you to this veteran photographer in tonight's Down Home.
KTBS 3 News continues.
You know, the Academy Awards are just a week away.
But tonight, Rick Rowe introduces us to a Bossier City man who's an award-winning person in his own right.
Well, who would have thunk it? I mean,
Thunk
seriously,
it.
you just don't think of Shreveport Bossier, the architects, producing Academy Award winners. But sure enough, this fella did indeed win an Academy Award. It was part of a film that he was, that he actually shot way back in 1961 about, of all things, the Marines.
For nearly 50 years, film was Fred Callum's life. He was a Marine toting a camera instead of an M1. A documentary cinematographer who in 1961 won an Academy Award for a film about the Marine Corps called Force in Readiness.
Swiftness of communication and transportation.
Of course, the film's narrator, Jack Webb, is much better known than the film, but Fred did visit the White House once to shoot a congratulatory address by President Lyndon Johnson.
Suddenly, he didn't like the word bulwark or freedom. And he threw the script at me, at the camera, and walked out. He says, and I'll be back later, get this fixed. Only he used worse language than that.
Fred had much better results with Vice President Hubert Humphrey, who, when the teleprompter malfunctioned during the shoot, got down on his hands and knees to fix it himself.
It impressed me quite a bit.
Fred was one of the first people in the country to use what was, in the 1960s, a revolutionary new camera, which recorded a 180-degree perspective of a scene. Fred shot a promotional film for the Marines using that camera that literally got people out of their seats.
The plane came back in and hooked the tail hook and suddenly stopped. The man fell off of his seat on the floor.
But Fred's most controversial film was something he did for Mississippi Educational Television in the early 1970s about a tobacco spitting contest in Raleigh, Mississippi. A state senator wanted the film banned as an embarrassment to Mississippians.
They stood up and hollered, show it, show it, show it.
The Mississippians in Raleigh, however, insisted it be shown.
It made a foreign newspaper. They called it the Spitters and the Spouters.
The Spitters won. And 25 years later, Fred still gets a kick out of watching the 9-time world champion George Kraft get beat by a young whippersnapper from down the road. It was a little bit of celluloid history, and Fred Callum can say he was there. When George got beat, when LBJ got mad, when Hubert got down, and when the folks in Raleigh, Mississippi told it like it was.
Which do you think is more important, exploring the moon or spitting chewing tobacco? Spitting chewing tobacco, I guess.
Oh, that's nice.
You have to admit, Fred was very creative. You know, he held a piece of glass in front of the lens and got that spit coming right there. Very creative shot, especially for way back in 1971, which I think is when he did that particular film. Neat guy. Of course, he's 79 years old now.
Wow.
Hasn't shot any film in the last 10 or 15 years, but he can always reminisce, and he can always say that he was a part of an Academy Award-winning film way back when.
History in the making.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk with him.
That's right.
Well, we all